I'm looking forward to this one, a new fitness fragrance review with a fragrance I have never smelt before. So yes, good morning. It is again a lovely hot summer's day and I can't wait to do this review. This is a fitness fragrance review of Diesel Zero Plus Masculine. Now, this actually isn't my fragrance again. I've stolen it from my brother's car. Yes, we went out for a sort of car drive the other day. He had one in his car because he likes to have one as a top up for his lunch times on his lunch breaks at work. And this is the one I found. Now, I've never tried this one. I've never smelt this one before. What am I expecting? Nothing too special, to be honest. Look, it's probably just a generic body spray. My brother would have just bought this one as a safe option to put in his car to not make himself. So I'm not expecting it to be anything too fantastic. But you never know. You never know with these fragrances. I've tried some cheap ones before, cheap summer blue fragrances, and they've actually been very, very good. Police Extreme, very, very good one. Milton Lloyd Success, love a lovely lemonade citrus type smell. Absolutely love it. So if you haven't seen my fitness fragrance reviews before, essentially I'm going to do a morning workout. So I'm going to go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout, walk back, all while wearing this fragrance. We're going to rank it on 5 categories. We'll look at its price slash value for money, we'll look at its versatility, its projection to how much I'm noticing it during my run. We'll also do a room spray test to see how it fills up my room. So if a colleague came in, a family member, would they be able to detect the fragrance? Compliment factor, do I think people would say nice things about it if you've got it on? And also its longevity, where I'll spray miles before I go to the gym. A few hours will go by, I'll have a shower, we'll still see if we can detect it, but it is very hot today, so it'll do well to last. But what we're going to quickly do, we're going to apply the fragrances and then we're going to talk about what is actually in Diesel Zero Plus Masculine. These names don't get any more simplistic, do they? Again, cutting edge technology here. Writing all the notes on a post-it note. Yes, best way to do it. I can't even read my own handwriting, so we'll try and go through this as quickly as we can. So the top notes of this: orange, bergamot, nutmeg, anise, and cardamom. There's quite a lot going on there, but if you look at those notes that are listed in the top, they're nothing that you've not really heard of before. Again, I'm expecting this to be quite a generic smell, really. Orange and bergamot gives me that feeling it's going to be a little bit more easy to pull off, more summertime type fragrance. But then it does have some spice in this as well, which maybe gives it that versatility for nighttime, where cardamom, a very popular night out seductive note in a lot of fragrances. Lannoy de Lhomme, always very popular, that one, and that's kind of cardamom's the main selling point of that one. If we go into the middle, cinnamon, so again adding to a little bit more spice, violet, rose, lily of the valley, and jasmine. So we've got some florals in here as well. I really like florals. I don't see them actually loads and loads in masculine fragrances. I'm very surprised to see jasmine in this one, considering it is marketed as masculine. So yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what that smells like. I think florals for me are fantastic in those transition seasons, spring and then into the fall time as well. And then we look at the base: musk, vanilla, heliotrope, and patchouli. Again, very, very popular base notes. You know, vanilla, it's in so many fragrances, it's the most popular note in perfumery. But actually, when you look at it, to have the top of sort of orange, then you've got florals in the middle, and then these kind of sweeter notes or darker notes in the base, like patchouli and vanilla, quite surprising. I'm very, very surprised. And obviously, musk is a nice clean note. Amber's also in this as well. Amber's an accord that's a combination of notes, gives kind of a caramel smell once all these notes have been put together. So, yeah, I think it's time to apply, and we'll see what we can actually detect then with this fragrance. Again, never smelled this one before, so I'm really intrigued. I've never even considered buying Diesel, to be honest with you. I'm just hoping it's going to get me through my run today. Do you know, that is really... I take back everything I said. This is not a boring citrus by any stretch. That is really nice. Oh, wow, okay. A little bit alcoholic if you spray it and then smell it straight away. Just get that smell away. That is so, so good. Wow, I'm really surprised. There's a real fizz to this, a real spice, which I'm certainly detecting, but I don't know if it's the clean sort of musk I'm getting or the sweetness from the vanilla, or maybe just working in combination. That is really, really nice. I'm very surprised. And what I'm kind of getting is this kind of very nice bright orange opening, then a little bit of spice. Not particularly getting the florals here too much. Maybe so with the jasmine, which is lending itself to that clean vibe I'm getting. But then this musk sort of vanilla combination in the base as well. It's really nice. Orange, vanilla, and musk with the spices. That is what I'm really detecting here. I'm really impressed. Wow. This isn't like a boring blue fragrance or a boring citrus at all. That smells, in my opinion, a lot more expensive than it actually is. So what we're going to do, we're obviously going to go out for a run now, and we'll talk about the price slash value for money during my run and also its versatility. I think I'm going to enjoy this one today. I'm a big fan. I'll see you out there. And we are off, and I can tell you I'm very glad, I'm sure you can hear it, that there is a bit of a breeze this morning, because it is going to be about 30 Celsius later. It's 24 Celsius already, and it's like 20 past 7 in the morning. It's ridiculous. But that's not what we're here for today. We are talking about the diesel fragrance here, this masculine one, 0 Plus. So price / value for money for diesel 0 Plus masculine. Do I think it's good value for money? Well, the online prices I was finding for it was kind of in between that £10 to £15 range, and the price you would have just seen from Perfume Price was kind of just under £13. Now, I'm going to say it straight away, I think this is 10 out of 10. Now, normally I would criticise fragrances where you don't have a huge variation of bottle sizes, because sometimes if you're, trying loads of fragrances, you don't necessarily want big bottle sizes. But I'm always one who quite likes 100ml bottles. I always like the option of 100ml. And from what I could see online, it was only 75ml you can get this one in. But I'll be honest with you, with this scent, I'd want 200, 300, 500ml with this, because it is so nice. Now, what I'm sort of finding with this, which is quite unique, is I'm almost getting the base notes first in terms of what I'm smelling. The first thing I detect, I'm getting real whiffs of it with the wind. I'm getting this really nice creamy vanilla. Then I'm kind of getting this floral sort of component. I don't know if that's the lily of the valley or the jasmine working alongside the musk, but it's kind of like this clean washing vibe. And then at the very end, you're kind of getting this orange bergamot combination, which is giving it that freshness. So it's almost working in reverse. The base is definitely the strongest with that vanilla, which you'd expect, but it's not overpowered everything else in the fragrance. There's a lot going on in this, but it does feel very well blended together, and it's created this very masculine. It is masculine because of the spices involved in it, but a very wearable, very approachable, relaxing type of fragrance. And it just feels very clean and well put together. And it's funny, when you looked at the description of this one online, it actually says it's more for sort of nights out, but I actually think this is perfect for pretty much all time wear. Obviously we'll talk about versatility later on, but I think this is just a suitable one, an everyday office type fragrance in the summer, because the vanilla isn't too powdery, it's not too heavy, and the florals that are in this are certainly not dark or anything else. And of course you then have those citruses in the opening, and it's just created for me a really unique fragrance. I thought this was just going to be a really generic, boring type smell. This is not. This is very unique. I haven't smelled anything like this before, but it does feel like a scent that has got something about it. To me, this is better than a Dior Sauvage. I really do think that. It's not got any blue aquatic vibes to it, but it does feel fresh and clean, but with a bit of depth and complexity, with those florals, with the spices, and those sweeter notes working in harmony alongside the citrus in the opening. And I think it's punching well above its weight. If I was blindfolded and I had to sort of rank this sort of fragrance, yeah, it doesn't smell really natural, the notes. That's the only thing I would say that would mark this one down. But I'd happily pay 40, 50, maybe even £60 for this, alongside some of those designers which you would be paying that price for, like a Dior Sauvage. So I'm going to give it, for that reason, I'm going to bypass some of those criticisms. And because the weather's lovely as well, I think it deserves a 10 out of 10. I'm in a good mood, but I really genuinely think this one deserves that high score. Okay then, so on to versatility. How much can you dress this one up, dress this one down? Different ages, different occasions, different seasons, all those things. Well, again, I stand by what I just said a second ago. This is signature scent worthy. This has definitely got signature scent potential about it, because it goes into so many different genres of fragrances. It's got a bit of woods in there. It's definitely got, those sweet notes, which I thought would limit its use in sort of, these hot weather days. But no, those citrus accords, those musky accords, those florals, they make it more wearable, particularly in those transition seasons. I think this is definitely going to be best in the transition seasons, the spring, fall time, when it gets a bit cooler. Yeah, quite happy to wear this one on a hot summer day. But certainly at this time of the day, because it's really, really early, it doesn't feel too heavy, too cloying. It might do when I go to the gym later on, but I'm not expecting it to, because I think those citruses are going to hold on. I don't think they're just going to wear off, within an hour or two. I think this scent is going to stay pretty stable throughout the longevity of this fragrance. Now, if I'm being really stereotypical, I'd probably say this is most suited towards a younger male, probably, 20s to 40s. I don't imagine my dad particularly wearing this one. Again, maybe he'd use it as sort of like a gym bag fragrance or a car fragrance, like my brother's using it. But I honestly think this is better than that. I really do think this is one you could just wear every day, all day. And if you only had sort of 4 or 5 phrases in your collection, this one could be your workhorse that does most of those jobs. You could dress it up, you could wear it for job interviews. Again, for the gym, it's absolutely fine. Again, there might be situations where you want to tone your sprays down with this one, or spray a little bit more if you're going for sort of a suit tie occasion. But it's going to leave a good impression. It's very easy to pull off, and it's a scent DNA that I can't believe I've not smelled anything like this before, because it is so wearable. This is really, really good, and I'm absolutely shocked at how good this one is. So I'm going to give versatility, because I was probably a little bit too kind on the first one. Maybe it should have been a 9 out of 10 probably for the first round. I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10, just because I think an older gentleman would struggle to pull this one off. It does feel a little bit more youthful, and yeah, maybe on a really hot day like today could become that vanilla, which is most prominent, I'd say, in this fragrance, alongside those florals. Might just get a little bit too heavy, but tone your sprays down, it'd be absolutely fine. And if an older gentleman can't pull this one off, you still wouldn't feel wrong wearing it. You know, if it's someone 60s or 70s and they're wearing this, I certainly wouldn't think they smell bad at all by any means. But yeah, if you're used to your Aramises, this might feel a bit of a change. So yeah, going to give it a 9 out of 10. So there we are, run done. It is now time to spray my room to test Diesel 0 Plus Masculine. I was almost forgetting its name while I was down the run. This is to test for projection. So essentially I'm going to spray my room 10 times. And I just want to see how much this fragrance fills up a room, essentially. So if a work colleague came in, if this was an office, would they notice it? Obviously, I'm at home, so would a family member, would a friend, if they walked into my room, would they actually notice that I've got a fragrance on this filling up a room? I'm also going to spray my arms. It's 9:10. And essentially here, I'm just testing for longevity. So later on, 3 hours will be sort of gone by, be about 12:15 when I leave the gym. Want to essentially see if I can still detect the fragrance after I've done my workout and had my shower. So I better go take this fragrance downstairs now, because yeah, my brother will otherwise notice. So I'm going to go put it back in his car. I wish I could keep it. I'm absolutely loving it. We'll head down there, we'll have a drink, and we'll talk about projection, how much I noticed it during my run. Oh, that is much needed after a very, very warm run. So projection for Diesel 0 Plus Masculine. Yes, you have to add the masculine, because that is actually in the name of the bottle. So what was the projection like during my run? For the first sort of 45 minutes, it was pretty good, I have to say. Now, I would say the second half of the run, I didn't notice it at all. I almost forgot I had it on, to be honest. And look, I could still smell it where I sprayed it on my arm. So it was still there, and it was still pretty noticeable, but it had become a skin scent, that wasn't really, even if I was waving my arm, it didn't feel like I was really going to pick the fragrance up, or if anyone was around me, they would as well. Unless I was getting really sweaty again, I think it may seep out of my pores, but I didn't get that hot, essentially, for that to happen. But that's pretty good. 45 minutes to an hour running in high heat weather, where I am going to give it a little bit more leeway today, I think it's pretty good. It is a cheapie. I don't expect it to be much more. But what I do like with it, it's a cheapie that doesn't smell really natural. It does have that synthetic vibe about it, but it's not aggressive, I'd say. It's not in your face cloying that smells really cheap. It's well blended. It's well blended with synthetics, and it's calming, it's soothing, it's so uplifting. It's putting me in a really good mood today. This is so good. This might even be my favourite cheapie fragrance ever. That's how much I like it already. I've really fallen in love with it straight away. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish my coffee. We're going to head upstairs, and we'll give a score on projection then overall. How much does it fill up my room? Hopefully it will do quite well with that vanilla in it. So yeah, I'll put this back in the car first. Up we go. Let's see what we can detect. Nothing at the top of the stairs. Not that I was particularly expecting it to smell too strong. Right, in we go. Yeah, it's not particularly strong. I think this is going to be one that's going to do better on your skin and maybe on your clothing rather than fill a room. Look, my room is pretty warm, I'm not going to lie, and I think on a colder day this would have done a little bit better. Bit underwhelmed. I'd say for what it initially offers and what it hopes and what it kind of gives you, you kind of expect it to be a little bit stronger. But again, if I didn't have such high expectations of it because of how much I loved it initially and how strong it is on that initial glass, I probably wouldn't be as critical here. But it's probably about 10-20% as strong. I think this is going to be gone on a hot day pretty quickly. You're going to definitely want to keep this one in your bag and top up at lunchtime if you like this fragrance, if you want it to give enough projection for other people to notice it. I think you'd have to sit in a room though. I think you definitely need to be in a room, someone next to you, for it to really be noticed. So for that reason, I think slightly below the average of what I've kind of expected from this fragrance. We'll go projection. And I am factoring it, it's a very, very hot day today. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. I'd probably on a normal sort of temperature, not a heat wave that we've got, probably say it's about 5 out of 10. But I'm going to give it 6.5 because I do think on a slightly cooler weather, when this is just as suitable to wear, this one would be absolutely fine. This would certainly give a little bit more kick. I think it would last 2 to 3 hours in cool climate controlled environments. And again, with my run, it was a very hot day. I think it would have got me through my whole workout. In most cases, almost worn off by the end, but today it obviously did wear off pretty much the whole way. So we're going to now head to the gym, going to walk down, we're going to talk about compliment factor next. Do I think, though, this fragrance can get good comments and good compliments by people? The next fan is on, and honestly, it is such a relief. It is getting warmer and warmer today, and I'm hoping this fragrance now is going to get me through it. But is it going to get me any compliments during my next part of the workout? Well, I'm not sure if it's going to get too many compliments at the gym today. I think it's not going to be that strong. But do I think it's a compliment getting sent if I wore it outside of those environments? Yes, I do. Look, I think what this one does really well, and I've said this with certain scents before, is you want something that's quite safe. That there's a reason why Dior Sauvage and stuff gets so many compliments. That's because it's a very recognisable scent that obviously has huge mass appeal. But for me personally, if I'm going to give someone a compliment on anything, I want it to do something a little bit different as well. Just have a slight unique sort of tweak to it to give it that extra edge to make you think, oh, I can smell something that's a little bit different here. And I think that's what this one does. It really does strike that balance of it in quite a sort of safe scent, essentially, but with that slight tweak, that slight change. I don't know specifically what the note is in it, but whatever it is, the blend, the combination, maybe it's the florals, maybe it's the spices, does give it that slight uniqueness that I think would make me certainly nose sit. And again, first time I smelt it today, I was like, wow, that is different. If my brother was wearing that one and I smelled it, I would have definitely 100% mentioned it if I'd caught it. So yeah, I think again, anyone at work who had this, I would much more likely than I would with, say, a Dior Sauvage, which is so familiar to myself. Now, the only criticism I give this one, or it's not really a criticism, but my only assumption, I'm only assuming here, is I feel like this does definitely suit a younger person. It does feel a little bit more juvenile, as we touched upon earlier. And I feel like I'm more likely to compliment a younger person wearing this than, say, my dad wearing this one. And I think you're more likely to get compliments from younger people and they prefer this scent DNA. I think it definitely leans to that more youthful, athletic type of person, which I feel like Diesel as a brand with their fragrances do tend to do. And again, there's nothing wrong with that one. It has that, again, easy to pull off mass appeal, but I think it is certainly suited more to a certain demographic, and that's the only thing I can really say I'd mark it down on in terms of compliment factor. I think an older gentleman who's more used to boots, Habit Rouges, Aramis's, they may not get the compliments of this one because it may not suit them so much as it does someone in their sort of early 20s. So I'm going to say compliment factor for this. I'm going to give it a very high score because that's just my opinion on this one. 9.5. Now I've given an extra 0.5 here purely because, again, this fragrance has actually been out since 2003, so it's been over 20 years. And I think for any scent these days to be around for that long, considering how many get released by these brands, they quite often get discontinued within the space of 1 or 2 years. And the fact that this one is still around, still easily available to buy, must mean it does have that mass appeal. So I've given it that extra 0.5 for that reason, because I do think it is very easy to put off compliment getting sent, and I think that's probably why it is still around. So yeah, of course, if we do get any gym today, we will bump up to a 10, but as I said earlier, I'm not too sure this one's going to have enough kick today in this high heat to do just that. Okay, so it's just gone 7 minutes past 12. It's essentially been about 3 hours since I applied this Diesel fragrance. I feel like it's suitable time to test for longevity now I've had my shower. So let's give my arms a smell. I'll tell you what, particularly on my watch side there, that is really strong. Can't really smell it on my left hand side for some reason, but on this side it's definitely still there, and it's probably about 60-65% as strong as it was earlier on, and kind of the two main notes I'm getting from this at the moment is orange and vanilla, and that combination is working really well. And what this fragrance is kind of teaching me today, and look, one thing I always enjoy with fragrances is you can spend, say, £15-20 on one that you absolutely love, and then you can spend an £80-90 on one that you actually don't like as much. You know, there's no real set rule. That in general, do more expensive fragrances smell better? Yes, they do. They do smell high quality. The oils smell better quality. But with this one, look, does the oil smell really high quality? No. But does it still smell like an amazing scent? Yes. And it also makes me realise that some of these sort of cheap clones I've tried and cheap fragrances I've tried in recent times, which I've gone, you know, they really are poor, but they are cheap, so I understand it. That everything can do better. That sometimes these brands probably say, "Well, we can't make it smell too high quality because we haven't got the high quality tools." No, but you can do better, and I think this fragrance for like £12, which we said earlier, has proved that, and the longevity here has also proved that you can have a nice scent that does last pretty well and get you through most of your day, even on a hot day like this where it's now 28 Celsius. So I'm going to give longevity a very high score here, because I'm still going to be able to smell this on my skin in 3 or 4 hours time. I've got no doubt about that, and that's after a shower, that's after a workout, that's after doing all things in high heat. So I'm going to give longevity, I think I've got to give it a 10. I am going to give it a 10 because I'm not having to reach for that tool. I don't really have to sort of dig my nose into my arm to smell that. And that even if I'd sprayed this on my top before I went to the gym and put this one on, I've got no doubt I'd be smelling it on my clothing as well. It's done really well, and it's so pleasant. It reacts really well with my skin chemistry. That orange vanilla combination, can't stop smelling it. It is so good. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for its longevity. And yeah, when we head back, we'll count up all the scores and I will give my overall thoughts. I think it's done pretty well today. And we are back. Yes, it is absolutely roasting out there. And actually, one thing I was a bit silly with today is I didn't put any sun cream on. I'm feeling a bit of a burn, but that wasn't really the main thing about putting sun cream on. It was all about wearing a fragrance today, and that was Diesel Zero Plus Masculine. And what was the total score based on the 5 categories we did? What did it get overall? It's done amazingly well. It's got 45 out of 50, probably one of my highest scores ever. Only the very best fragrances have ever really got that in all the reviews I've done. And if you look at it, 3.5 of those 5 marks that were eventually lost was all on one round. It got 6.5 on the round of projection. Yes, it was a little bit below average, but if I'm being honest with you, when it's such a hot day like today, and you can see getting sunburn at 7 o'clock in the morning, that says how hot it must be. And it probably on another day maybe could have got even higher, but it is an amazing scent. The thing I really want you to take from this is that the actual scent DNA is one of the best I've smelled, certainly around that price range. It doesn't smell really natural, but this orange vanilla combination alongside the florals and the spices in it just give it this lovely masculine, versatile type of fragrance, and something a little bit different from a Dior Sauvage. Yes, you can use it in pretty much similar situations, but it's got that uniqueness, something about it it's safe, but there's something different that makes me sort of, yeah, it draws my attention in. If someone else was wearing it, I would certainly comment on it as well, because I'm a massive, massive fan of really, really good fragrance. And from where I can still smell it on my arms, just absolutely addictive as well. And very rarely do I sort of, sometimes when I put a fragrance on, I sort of just know it's there. But this one, I can't stop smelling my arm because it's that good. Really surprised, did not expect that at all today. As I said at the start of the video, I expected it to just be a bit of a generic boring citrus, just okay. But Diesel maybe as a brand, it hasn't really got the biggest reputation in fragrances, but as a brand in general, it does, and it certainly lives up to that name in this fragrance as well. So really recommend this one. I can't speak highly enough of it. I can't believe how good it is. As I said, I'm trying not to buy too many fragrances at the minute, particularly going on holiday soon. But this one might be one I just have to get at some point, and maybe straight away, because I really do enjoy it that much. It fits my personality absolutely perfectly. So yeah, thank you very much for watching today. Hope you've enjoyed this one, and yeah, very positive review. And I think tomorrow maybe we'll do another spray off competition. But whatever you see, hopefully you'll be there to join me, and yeah, you'll enjoy that one too. Thanks for watching. I've remembered the clicker.